to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll open the meeting with public comment for items not on the agenda. Alan?
Yes, I have a couple of things. One, up on Indian Creek, above the transfer station, I guess we'll call that, it appears to be Upper Indian Creek. I went in and I talked to Laura, and I talked to Mary about going up there, and there's a section of road up there that is just atrocious. I mean, it hasn't been graded since last spring. And they had two graders up there, quarter of a mile away. You thought that they could have probably graded it. I don't know, maybe no one's going up there and looking to see how bad it actually is. Maybe somebody needs to drive up there and look and see what the county roads are like. And so I would like you guys to talk to whoever, whatever, maybe someone go up and look and see if you could put a grader on that. And it's open. The main thing is from the transfer station to just through the canyon. I mean, it is pothole alley. And so, and then my other comment is, I was reading the paper here on the firing of the weed guy, and out of curiosity, the Public Works Director, Mary Hendrickson, according to the article, I don't know anything about what all's been going on, but according to the article, did she fire him? Because if she did, I would be interested to find out through what provisions of our local government that she can hire and fire based on our local government, form of government, that the people have voted in. So, and I would like to have that, if possible, I'd like to have that one in writing. And that is my comment. I'm within the 3 minutes. Have a good day.
No, I want to make a comment.
Okay, John?
Yes. My question is, all of you know that the problems I got with herbicides and for what's happened in the past. I don't think anybody doesn't know that. If they don't, I can fill you in about a week. But problem in hand is Mark, and I think the weed man's name, and I made an agreement that he wouldn't spray around my place up there, that he would use bugs, which they have done in the past. Okay, and next thing I hear, he's been fired over doing something incorrect far as what Laura and Mary decided that he couldn't, that he violated his agreement of his time and period of the beginning. And because he told me directly that he was told that Mary and Laura said, don't contact John, just spray. Well, you got to spray on private property because you got to go on private property to get on Indian Creek. And the road's been pioneered. Franklin knows about it. Everybody knows about it. There's a road petition that abandoned all the roads a long time ago. And I was trying to work it out where I can. And what alternative have you given me? Now I'm trying to get whatever aid I can or help, and I think the Sheriff's Department knows and understands this problem. So can we resolve this verbally and peacefully, or how far do we have to go? Because I think if you spray up there again, you'll kill me, as bad as my health is. Thank you.
Right.
John, we will have Mary, the new weed person, contact you before anything happens up there.
Well, I'd like to go and talk to her right now because I think they'll do it today. That's what the plan is. Just go ahead and do it. And in that little box canyon right there at my place, everything is too close.
Well, we'll have to find out. I believe she's out looking at roads today.
Or is she?
But we'll contact her.
All right?
Mr. Lincoln was terminated by Mary at the direction of the commission on a 3-0 vote. It was completely unanimous.
All right, but was it over the issue of me, of him
It had
going against?
nothing to do with the issue with you whatsoever.
Because he had direct, he told me he had direct orders to not contact me, just spray. And I can't live with that.
And who gave him direct orders?
And he said, Laura and Mary. The exact words he said.
I feel quite comfortable vouching for Mary, that was never said, it was certainly never said by me, so that
Well,
was
then
misinformation.
somebody's a liar, because that's what he told me. And then he says, okay, we'll leave out the spray and we'll go for the bugs, and I need to evaluate it. And that wasn't very long ago. And that's reasonable, because I can't go nowheres. I'm so blind, I can't see the back of the head of the person right in front of me. And that's all caused by the herbicides to start with. And my eye conditions are getting worse. And my heart problems are getting worse. My lungs are getting worse. You name it. I'm getting older too. But I don't need no more herbicide sprayed on me.
Okay.
Absolutely none. And I think that's reasonable, especially with what we can do. There's some, like he said, there's some Russian thistle up there that there's no bugs that'll attack them. They attack the bugs and everything else. I know I've pulled a lot of them and I got the scars from them. But the commissioners, you guys have got the control of this thing. I think, do you control Mary or does Mary control you?
We control Mary.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Because it didn't sound that way according to Mark. Said they were to give an order just to spray, which brought this thing all to a head a long time ago. All right, enough said.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Anyone else have any public comment? See, we will move on to the COS review. I guess we have none. See, we'll open a public hearing to adopt the preliminary, will we adjourn and we suspend?
End the regular meeting and open a public
Okay, we
hearing.
will end the regular commissioners meeting and open a public hearing to adopt the preliminary budget for fiscal year 2018-19. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, have a decision to, or close the public hearing to adopt the public primary budget and reopen the commissioners meeting for a decision of a resolution to adopt preliminary budget for fiscal year 2018-19.
And Mr. Chairman, if we could, Debbie was at a training recently and got some new information about a new interpretation of the Local Government Budgeting Act regarding the preliminary budget. Could I ask that she share that so that we're kind of aware of the new steps we can take with the preliminary budget?
Certainly.
Basically, I guess they've had a lot of issues with having separate hearings, resolutions, redundancy, and such work. They said that they're allowing you to have a preliminary hearing, and that hearing can continue until you've got your final budget approved, as long as you announce the date and time the hearing for the preliminary budget will continue. So what that basically does is it gives us some leeway in filling in some of the gaps that we're still trying to get filled in. There's still a few items that are missing. We don't have our final valuation, so it's kind of a guess based on our estimated growth, but it gives some leeway into finalizing our budget until we get some of those more concrete numbers.
Is there any timeline how long you can continue it? until you have
Until you
numbers?
finalize your budget, and
Okay.
then you finalize it, it's done.
Yeah, that's what Harold had told me a few years ago, that carry on the preliminary budget, it can go right to the day you're doing the
Yeah,
final.
there's been lots of different interpretations, but this last training, they pretty well got it agreed upon within their own organization, they're all on the same agreement with it, so that was kind of good news, because we've always had to hear a hearing and then close it. Then we had to do amendments when we did our final budget, so it was a little extra work and publicity and time and cost, and paper and. So as long as we continue it, so that was nice to have them, and they put it in their little training pamphlet too. I just haven't shared it with everybody, but I'll be getting it out here soon.
So do you want to reverse closing the hearing?
No, because what we do is, keep it open, keep the public hearing open.
I'm
For-
saying you just closed it.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Ann. Yeah, so we could move to reopen the public hearing in the interest of keeping the preliminary budget active through August 20th, 2018 at 10:30, when the final budget shall be approved. Is that
Mhm.
accurate?
And then just,
Okay.
we put your agenda items, state what you're doing. Is how I understood it.
Okay,
And I
Yeah.
think there was enough questions that I didn't have any uncertainty. There was enough clarification than others, so that was my understanding.
okay.
So the motion's been made to reopen the public hearing and to continue it until such time that the final budget is adopted. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion's been made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries.
Two questions. I expected we would like have a preliminary budget handout. Do you have that? Is that something that you're going to produce today?
Can you email that out to everybody, Debbie, so they all have a kind of a starting documentation, starting budget?
Everybody's to everybody?
I would say just maybe forward the big budget to everybody, so everybody can see everything. And then they can pick out what applies to them. How's that? And that way it's less work on you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Easy enough.
Is there a motion to adopt the preliminary budget there for fiscal year 2018-19?
Well, I have a question. Nobody knows what that is. I mean, that's why there's no public comment. Nobody has
Nobody has a
anything
document.
from you, so we don't know what's happening right now.
Well, I think, according to an email from you, the law says that the department heads shall be here for the public to question you guys on your budgets. So, what we have that made up the preliminary budget at this time, correct me if I'm wrong, is what you guys turned in. So, that wasn't changed, because it's not changed from the preliminary budget, at least as long as you followed Debbie's instructions. So, yeah, at this point, it's just starting the preliminary so that we can go ahead and start making some decisions to get to the official budget, but that's not the official budget. So Debbie will send those out so everybody has them, and then if you have any questions or concerns, we can go ahead and address that through the public process during the budget season.
So how are members of the public supposed to ask us this if they don't have anything here for them to look at?
It was on file upstairs in
Okay,
the clerk recorder's office, as it is every year for the public to look at. It's made notice when we put the ad in the paper. It's either on file down here or upstairs, and there's a book upstairs
thank you.
that's got it in there.
Okay,
So the public's had a chance if they're reading the paper and are interested.
So do you want to adopt or do you want to hold until everybody has a chance to look at this?
We already did. All we need to do, according to Debbie's most recent training, is to state that we have the preliminary budget. We're keeping the public hearing for that open for the duration of the budget season until August 20th at 10:30, and then we'll adopt the final budget.
Okay.
So, yep, that's already been done.
Can I ask another question then? Are there gonna be any times between now and August 20th when we're gonna meet publicly to, like, sections of the budget? For example, at some point, am I gonna sit down with the commission in a public meeting and go through my budget, and you guys are gonna say, here are the numbers for your budget, or each of the other department heads? Because it seems to me that what I would like to prevent is what happened a couple years ago, which is we got the final budget 45 minutes before you adopted it with a number of surprises in it. And so I guess I'm concerned that right now, I anticipated that you would have some kind of handout for us and the public. And I don't want that to be the process going forward. Am I the only one that feels this way? It's out there.
Debbie, did you send this out to all department heads this year?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do it twice, in April and in May?
I paper copied and emailed.
So this has the instructions for everybody for the preliminary budget season. It's broken down in months, so April, May, open it up, and it has June, July, August, and then some subcategories. So if you would follow this, everybody should have already made an appointment with us to discuss their budgets. You had instructions on the 2%, which of course everybody knows stays with your own budget. It's just solidifying your cash reserves. So yeah, we will be following this. If you will choose to meet with us again, absolutely, there will be time. And this is, Debbie has extra copies if anyone did not get a copy. But please refer to this for the timeline, expectations, and anything else that you need.
So can you just refresh our memory between now and August 20th, what is scheduled?
I think anytime that you wanna be on the agenda to discuss your budget, we'd be more than happy to put in any department person on here. That's basically why we kinda reserve Wednesdays for also.
Okay.
So, I mean, even if this is just a preliminary, we can adjust it whenever we want to, up to the adoption of the final. But I would strongly suggest all department heads look at their budgets and make sure everything's in there that you want.
I would strongly recommend then that we have, before August 20th, say a week before, that you have the full budget with everything, so we know, because that's the one we know you need to balance, you need to, that one's gotta be pretty well done. Between now and then, we're tinkering. But I would recommend you do that a week before that August 20th, so that if there is a train wreck or something that somebody can't live with, they've got several days of working with you to try and resolve that.
Okay? Did we have a motion to adopt the preliminary budget then?
We actually already did that.
We already did?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll move on to our 10:30, Nicole Brown, Community Development Director, Hyman Boundary Relocation discussion.
Good morning. If I could turn this over to Corey, he has some information he would like to share with you. He met with Mako Land's attorney Terry Depew last Thursday, and I think they have some information, or you have some information to share with them.
Yeah, I met with Tara in Bozeman, and we went through the whole file, and she agrees. She said, this looks like subdivision to me. I don't know if there's a way to do the boundary relocation to get there. The problem is there is a gap in the law, and I understand that from the point of view of the Heinemans. We're not the only ones in the state dealing with this. There are several other counties that are dealing with various versions of the same thing right now. And, so I recommend, I said, this looks like something that would be right for Attorney General's opinion, and she strongly encouraged that. So she can't request one, but I can. So that's my plan, is to work with probably you guys as well as Tara to craft an Attorney General opinion requesting, there's kind of two main questions that need to be answered, and then get that submitted. So I'll let them know ahead of time that it's coming. But, so they have land use people that kind of specialize in this as well. So that's her recommendation, and it goes with what I think makes the most sense as well.
I gave you a sheet of paper on, under Montana Code 76-3207. Divisions made outside of a platted subdivision for the purpose of relocating common boundaries between adjoining properties is an exemption. And then on the back, it talks about the subdivision exemptions, and those that are exempt, if you would read that.
Yeah, and we looked at that statute. The issue is, does that exemption apply, and does it, even if it applied, this would go probably beyond that. So that's what we need to figure out.
Corey, what exactly are your two questions for the AG opinion?
The first one goes specifically to the 5 relocations, is that?
That's in a subdivision, this is not a subdivision.
Okay, let me finish. First one is, is that a total of 5 for a particular life of subdivision, or is that 5 per a single survey?
How does that apply to this?
Well, let me finish, relax. The second question, which is preliminary to that, is do the subdivision requirements apply to a town site in this case rather than a platted city?
Well, I'm sorry, everything I've looked up is showing that this is not a subdivision, and I have the right, as a landowner, to move those lines.
Well,
And you guys are denying me the right.
well, the other issue
And the other
is that-
issue is, I can put a septic out there and put 105 trailers up there. And then Springville will not be happy either. And I'm trying to work with the county to do something that's better for Springville, and you guys will not listen. I have sent you 3 voicemails, you never replied, never called me back, I asked for an appointment with you. I sent you guys numerous emails with no replies. I'm not happy.
I
This
don't
has
think,
taken a long time.
I don't think anyone's objecting to what your end result is. I think it's a great use of the property. Nobody can
Then-
dispute that. It's the process.
So you guys don't wanna do what's right?
We have to do it the right way. We have to do what's right. We have to
I'm
do it the
showing
right
you
way.
it's the right way.
Well, I don't agree.
One of my questions too is, we already have an Attorney General's opinion that a city and towns are not a subdivision.
It leaves part of this unanswered.
What part? I mean, I'm just confused, I'm trying to get this straightened out too.
I got you.
What part is not, I don't understand.
A city and a town are
It's a-
different things. They're different. They are established in different ways. And specifically, historically, they were two
The
different
Attorney General's
categories.
opinion states that that is not a subdivision.
It doesn't state that the town is not. a
Tara
subdivision.
even wrote it in an email
Okay.
that it stated it was not a
Okay,
subdivision.
I've just told I've told the commission what is the best process. And I've consulted with a lawyer that I trust implicitly on land use stuff. We've gone through it extensively. She agrees completely with me. She said if I were in your shoes, as county attorney, there's no way I would let that thing go through. That's what I've told you, is a process. If we get an answer from the Attorney General that agrees with you, then we'll be happy to drive on.
Well then,
That's my recommendation of the commission.
It doesn't say buildable lots, it says lots, and I have 105, and I'm trying to work with you to do something that is better for Springville. I don't have to, I'm trying to negotiate with the county, and it's not going well. And time is money.
I would still be in favor of waiting until Corey gets his AG opinion, because this thing, I mean, right here, we're going through 6 steps to relocate 5 lots. So how
A
many
lot
more
of
steps
people
are
in
we
this
gonna?
county have done that.
I realize that, but you're discussing, you're talking about moving 105 lots out.
I
into
don't wanna move
300 acres.
105, I came up with a negotiation to move buildable lots, so it's 24.
So it's 24, so that's a major subdivision. And this sheet that you gave us right here, the only statutory criteria is that the subdivision exemption and utilization not constitute an evasion of the Montana Subdivision and Plating Act. And in my opinion, that's exactly what this is. My opinion is not worth the dirt. I believe the AG opinion will be. But that's basically why I don't, this is a subdivision. No matter how you
It is not
move
a-
these lines around all over the place, this is a subdivision. It's a major subdivision.
It is not a subdivision, it's a boundary relocation.
That's up to the AG to determine, it's not up to me. That's just my personal feeling. No, I don't, if that's the case, then I don't know why we even have subdivision rules.
Why do you even have boundary relocations, and what are they for?
They're for minor movements of property, not moving all these lots all over the place, taking them from this limited area and blowing them out into a huge area.
I'm not, they're next to the land, I'm doing a relocation of the boundaries just like everybody else does. And you're denying me that right as a landowner.
It's up to the AG.
Well, there'll be attorneys involved, that's all I got to say.
They're the experts.
And you had one opinion already, and then it's not gonna be pretty.
Corey, when you draft your questions, can you please include the commission on that? It is an attractive proposition that Mary and John have brought forward. They will be attractive lots, and I would imagine, like you said, there's other areas going through this as well. We could have some opportunities in Toston and Radersburg and Winston, as well as Springville.
Yeah.
So anything that we can do to help something that is helping a neighborhood like this proposition is, I would like to have an opportunity to weigh in for our folks.
I'd be happy to. So the process is when you submit a question, they ask you to submit basically a proposed answer. And what I would recommend is be happy to have you guys look at it. And if your attorney wants to draft kind of a counterpoint of why they don't agree with me, and submit that to the AG, that will speed up their process, their research, and really the whole thing, and give you guys a chance to present that issue to them for resolution as well. So I'll be happy to circulate to you. I plan to circulate to Tara as well for her.
Thank you. In the meantime, just a question, would it hurt the process of getting the AG's opinion if Mary and John wanted to go ahead and do the subdivision process to get this done and have these lots sellable and start?
Meaning if they were to initiate subdivision process? It
Mhm.
wouldn't hurt it at all, because
Okay.
it's not a requirement. AG opinions are slightly different than court cases. If you did that in a court case, they would say, no, it's moot, because you've already chosen Plan B. But an AG opinion is not, it doesn't require standing, and it can be an advisory opinion rather than, in fact, it's better to be an advisory opinion rather than a settlement of a case. If we were in litigation right now, then AG opinion would not be an option available to us. But because we're not, we can use it. However, if they were to proceed with subdivision, that would not negate the need for an AG opinion, we would still do it.
Okay.
So then, let's say it came back favorable, then they could halt the subdivision process at that point and do boundary relocation, for example.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we can move on to 10:45, Carol Campbell. Request for tax refund from DOR.
Hi. This all occurred 2 months ago. I asked the Department of Revenue to come in and reassess my property because my taxes have been going up like crazy. So what they discovered is that I'm being charged for taxes on a building that I don't have on my property, a 30 by 40 building. It started in 2008 when they updated their new system in Helena Department of Revenue. They knew of this problem. They went through and they tried catching all the property that doubled up on people's property taxes in the state of Montana. Mine was one that they missed. The coworker, I had Jessica Booth, her and her coworker, Wanda Washington come, and she explained of the system. They tried catching them all, but obviously they didn't. So I've been paying taxes on a building on my property that is not there. And obviously on your yearly tax form, it does not show it on there. It only shows dollar amount and breakdown of the taxes and total square footage or whatever. So she explained it to me, and we went back through, and she said, yes, you've been charged for this since 2008. So in order to get credit, I can only do 2 years for me, and then you have to go in front of the commissioner for them to issue the rest of the credit. The money has been paid to Broadwater County here. So what she did is she corrected it in 2018, taxes, took the building off, issued a check, which is still in, I asked them to keep it in the Treasury Department, for $46 and some odd cents for 17. But she said in order to get the credit for 2008 through 2016, I need to come in front of you guys to issue my refund, which I was really baffled. They already know they made the error. You know, they knew they took my money, charged me for something I did not have, which I wasn't aware. And I'm sure there's a lot more in the state that is in that same predicament, so I just want my money back, basically.
So we do have a letter here that we drafted for the Department of Revenue that we would forward in your case. So I would entertain a motion to sign this letter and also support Carol in her request for her refunds.
I would make that motion with, that we would support DOR refunding Ms. Campbell her money.
Okay, I talked to Jessica on that, and when you questioned where the money funds was going to come from, but she explained to me that Broadwater County, I paid Broadwater County those funds, so they need to come from Broadwater County. So you received them, so you need to refund them, quote, is what she'd said, so.
Right.
I know you guys work together, you know, Broadwater County and them, you know, for taxing and stuff.
We're supposed to.
You're right.
This letter is actually written directly to the Director of Department of Revenue and addresses the misinformation that DOR staff is giving way too many taxpayers. The money is actually paid, it goes to Department of Revenue, who then takes the property taxes and sends it back to the counties.
Right.
And withholds a little bit for themselves, and that goes to some state programs. But no, we can't refund for an error that Department of Revenue made going back beyond a year. So we do address that with the director, and basically what, in my opinion, Department of Revenue needs to do is start taking care of their own errors and being a little bit more forthright with people and not passing the buck. And I think that's what was done with you, and I think it's awful that it was done. It's just not what you do. So we do address this as Department of Revenue's error, and it's very divisive what they've done, and I don't think it's okay, personally. So I absolutely understand your frustration.
So now I have to wait to see if they're gonna give me the refund, that's what you're saying? basically.
It was their error, their system's error. It was not anything Broadwater County did,
Right, I get that,
yeah.
but the money was paid here, so.
Some of it was, yeah.
So who's gonna pay it back?
Yeah, I don't care who pays it back. They
Right.
need the money back.
Right.
I mean, I've been taxed and basically stolen from, charged for something I didn't have.
Yeah.
So.
And Corey, if you could
make it
intervene
right.
with Department of Revenue on this case, I think it would be a big deal and a huge benefit. If you'd like, you can
About $450, you know, and it's not.
have a copy of the letter as well, but
Okay, and it's been corrected though, so it's not gonna happen next year, is that your
Correct,
understanding?
yep, and I even, they gave me a website where I can pull it up now, which everybody should be aware of this website, but it could open a whole can of worms for the state of Montana, actually. So, and I did get in and check it, and they verified they changed it changed 2017 and 18 now. And they issued a check correction, they admit it, you know, so.
It is, me too, Carol.
And it works both ways. There's property owners that are not getting taxed for things that they have.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I didn't wanna call them, but I wanted them
No.
to straighten it out, cause some,
Absolutely.
my taxes have gone up 500 in 2 years, which is not right. It's crazy, you know, because I'm getting all these people moving in around me, but I'd like to say more, but I won't right now.
yeah, no, we get it. And you're not alone.
I know.
Wynn's with you, but there's a lot of people that Department of Revenue needs to help look at some of this stuff. So I will move that we sign that in support of Ms. Campbell and her request for refund and overpaid taxes from Department of Revenue, and also follow through with county attorney pursuing this to the extent he can as well.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second to sign letter and mail to the Department of Revenue and include the county attorney on it. In the chain, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries.
Can I bring up another issue? I know it's not on that, and that wasn't what I'd come in for. But I know there's a lady talking about Springville, about all these lots they're putting in up there for the benefit of Springville. They have a big dump site they're putting in up there too. It is not a benefit of Springville. They've started just off the highway. You know, we've got a big dumpy trailer on one side of the road just up, coming off the highway, and a big junkyard on the right-hand side. And they're bringing in a lot of junk, and that doesn't bring our property value, it isn't very pretty. So unfortunately, the lady left, but if we could check into something like that, because it's just, I always thought you had to have those fenced off or something, so you don't have to look at those. I thought you couldn't see them from the highway or something like that.
That's
I
a
thought-
licensed salvage yard.
Is there a way to address that with the Board of Health though, Julie, for the
Not if the
road
vehicles
use?
run, if they're not junk vehicles, or if they're not, wrecked, it's not a salvage yard, because I checked into that when he first started lining up all those vehicles along the highway, because I contacted DEQ and said, well, if they're for sale and they're runnable, they can be driven, and they're not considered a junk vehicle, then,
But then they
it's
need a
like
dealer
having-
license to sell them, that over 5 a year. But they have a junkyard up above that.
Oh, I know it, I've seen that.
It's
part.
pretty
It is.
terrible.
They got a sign that says to everybody else, no dumping.
Right, but then
But they do.
spray paint, they paint it over there, if you, prosecutors will be shot, because they've had people snooping in there, so. It's a hazard.
I better not go up there, prosecutors be shot.
Yeah.
So I would like that to be on the agenda for the next Board of Health meeting, because the trailer, it seems to me, is just a condo for skunks, pack rats, whatever else you wanna talk about. That could be a Board of Health issue. And if there is a dump of some kind up there, we need to, I think, address that as Board of Health to the extent that we can.
Well, that's not the end of it. These people have also brought, we're gonna open the can of worms here. They've also brought an old boat and another old trailer on the back side of the property, back of these lots they're talking about subdividing. On the back property up above the tracks, they've also started another junkyard back up there behind. So I'm presuming these are the same people that are doing all these lots up there. But I just would like to see it cleaned up if they're talking about the benefit of Springville. And to bring in things and make it nicer. But that
Yeah,
definitely is
thank you.
not nicer.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Did you have any idea what the trailer's there for?
Junk,
Junk?
it's been there for a year and a half, it's an eyesore, the highways. It's salvage.
They don't want me.
But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do we have your email to get you a copy of this letter?
I know, but I will give it to you.
Okay,
WEIC CAMEL @hotmail.com.
all right. We'll get it recorded and then get you a copy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
Move on to some mail here. We've got Commissioners' meeting minutes for June 25th and June 27th.
Move to approve the minutes from June 25 and June 27 as presented.
No, second.
Motion's been made and second to approve minutes from June 25th and June 27th. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Mail here, receipt of payment from Bill Fleiner. Claims in the amount of $108,556.26.
Move to pay the approved claims in the amount of $108,556.26.
No, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I just got a call from Montana Department of Transportation. They're gonna have an engineer out at Tossin Dam Road in about an hour. Mary and I are going out there. And they're gonna do an assessment and kind of give us an idea what to do and what we should do or shouldn't do. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we are at 11:15. Is there any other business? Let's go Commissioners' Community Update. Let's see. I attended the Solid Waste Board meeting, Town Health Systems Board meeting, and the Weed and Mosquito Board meetings last week.
Attended the weed board, LEPC, had a lot of calls on road complaints. Otherwise, just business as usual.
I attended the union negotiations, a road meeting, the Winston Tire meeting at the Big Bowl, and then also the mosquito and weed board meetings where there is, working with those boards, a pretty solid plan on how to move forward to make sure that we continue the fogging and the spraying as it has been already scheduled. There shouldn't be any bumps in the road with those.
So does the Commissioner have any other business before we move to the next issue?
We do have TV coming at 11, so if we could just not start before 11.
Okay.
And also Harley Gillespie's here with some history, and I wonder if we couldn't start at 11 with that and then move
Okay.
into the rest of that subject. But if you are looking for a motion on the letter for the mail, I would move that we send the letter as presented for Darby Dozer. Also a request for tax forgiveness.
It's the letter to Darby Dozier for regarding the estate of Marion Foy. Second to the motion to sign the letter.
What was
It's for release of, remember the letter we got from, this is Marion Foy's niece
Oh,
from
okay,
Virginia.
yeah. Yeah, I'll second.
Motion's been made, second to sign and send this letter to Darby Dozier. All in favor?
I,
Motion opposed, same. Motion carried. Yeah, this is a letter from Montana Department of Transportation Vision Zero, acknowledging that the Broadwater County DUI Task Force plan has been approved.
thank you.
That's yours. Did we have both letters there from Ms. Dozier? Both of those, the one from us?
From Department of Revenue? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I thought I'd send that.
So we want to just
Yeah.
recess until the 11th?
No,
You just wait. Okay, go ahead. You got some other stuff.
we did get a email from FWP. They are interested in purchasing some property. It was sent to commissioners, so all three of us got it. And basically, that would give them more habitat for wildlife. It would also add to the property that we are paid PILT, which is the federal government's property taxes. So I told Adam that I would get back to him on how the commission feels about that. I think it's a good move for them. What do you guys think?
Where's that property at?
That I don't know. And I
Okay.
didn't bring a copy of the email, just going by memory. When I read it, I thought it was a good idea.
Okay.
It's, you know, goes to private property rights. If the private property owner is interested, I don't think that we as government should be telling them what they can or cannot do with their property.
We could send them an email or send them a letter supporting it.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, we can get that drafted.
I would think so, yeah.
And just an email, I think, would be fine.
Okay.
Franklin, you too?
Okay.
The other question I had was this email that we all received from Eric Bryson, the Executive Director of the Montana Association of Counties, and he wants feedback on how we feel about another special session of the legislature. Basically, he says he'd like a yes or a no. If any commissions vote or want to support it, he suggests that we strongly have a determination where the money's coming from to pay for it. In a time of budget crunches with the state, we should certainly be targeting where they plan to pay for such a thing. My vote's no. What do you guys think?
No.
Okay. All right, I will let Eric know on that as well, and I'll just send it from the commissioners if that's good with you guys. And then the last one I have is we have union negotiations scheduled for July 11th. I think the sheriff was in here. With the new Supreme Court decision, I would like for us to meet as a caucus, maybe 15, 20 minutes before our start time to talk about that, because it does have a bearing on what the union is proposing, one of the elements the union is proposing.
Okay.
Are you guys good with
When
that?
do we have those meetings?
The next one is
Scheduled?
July 11th at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Just I think a week from Wednesday. So if that's good with you guys, I'd be happy to send out an email.
Yeah,
Okay, and so what time are we gonna meet then?
12:45.
And we did get the ESRI report.
Okay. So you also have a letter here from the Secretary of Interior. Please notify you that on June 26, 2018, the Department of Interior issued payments under the Payment in lieu of Taxes program. The county is receiving a PIL payment of $753,422.
And that is essentially the federal government's property taxes for federal lands. You know, while we're waiting, Mr. Chairman, if it's good with you, Corey had asked us to agenda and reaffirm our vote regarding the wage classification. Would you be okay if we brought that forward now?
Yes, we go ahead and do that.
And I will move that we adopt the wage classification as updated by the accounting office per industry standards. It is a tool, it makes no guarantees, and its number one purpose is better transparency for the public and employees.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion to adopt market adjustments for fiscal year 2019. Motion's been made and second to adopt market adjustment wage classifications for your fiscal year 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same.
No.
Motion carries.
Oh, and I have one more thing, Mike. This is the court case that we are going to be joining the other counties across the nation with. I did read through it. We actually have to declare the chair of the commission as the contact person for this. We can funnel everything through our finance officer, but the actual person needs to be filled in as a authority for the county. And I think it's just needed on both sides.
So if we, what happens when we change chairs? Do we have to amend this thing there?
No, it'll just switch over with the new chair.
Was 515 Broadway?
Yes. any of you who don't know, the federal government made a promise to counties decades ago that they would pay, again, the property taxes for public ground, for federal ground. And over the last couple of years, they've implemented a new formula where they subtract out other federal payments to counties. There's almost 1,200 counties across the country who receive these PILT, payments in lieu of taxes payments. So a county attorney in Illinois, I think, Midwest, filed a class action lawsuit against the federal government to get the back payments that they feel were illegally removed from PILT payments to counties reimbursed and paid out to counties. So that's the class action lawsuit that we are joining in on. It's kind of fascinating stuff, if anybody has any questions. Fascinating to us, anyway. Al?
How does the current allocations you just referenced, you got 700 and some thousand, relate to past several years?
It's a little bit up. It's been going up a little bit. It's based on 5 different criteria, one being population of the county, the other being acres of federal land, and I forget off the top of my head what the other 3 criteria are, but it's some kind of a formula at the federal level, and I don't pretend to understand it, but it helps. A lot of counties use PILT to balance their budgets. We don't. We try and use PILT just for unforeseen costs, things that come up, like the rescued horses. That was paid for by PILT. And capital expenditures.
So Commissioners, I did get a call this morning from a lawyer named Carl Knutzel from Livingston. I guess he's gonna represent the Sviloviches, and told me he can't be here. He's got a court hearing in Bozeman right now at 11 a.m. And said, hey, is there any way this can be continued? And I said, well, I can't guarantee that. I'll let the commissioners know that you wanna be here and engage on it. But I understand there's a lot of people here who came for this meeting, so I told him that if it wasn't continued, we would just let him know what transpired.
I'm gonna put that with this. And if you could start with Harlan to kind of give a foundation, I think that would be real good.
What's that?
Harlan Gillespie for kind of a foundation.
Where is she here?
She's in the very back row, yes.
Harlan, we could have a comment from you, please.
My name is Harla Gillespie. I lived in Radersburg for about 45 years. I'm here today to be talking against the tire episode in Winston. I'd like to give you some examples if I could, because this has happened before in our county, and I'm against the permit, at least until the other is cleaned up. South of Radersburg, there's an area about 1.5 miles from town on a mill site. This